welcome to another episode of Comics and Sweet Tea. And this thing, you guys are something. Uh, the following's been growing. I appreciate that so much. You're starting to spread the word, and you don't know how much I appreciate it. Just continue to do so. Continue to tell people about this channel. We're really trying to grow this thing out. So, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're a first time watcher, hey, go back and watch some of the other episodes, see what you think, and jump on if you like what you're seeing. And for the guys that have already subscribed, hey, go back and watch past episodes. There's a little something in every episode for somebody. You know, leave a comment. Tell us what you think about what you're watching. Hit that little bell, ring that fucker, you know, get those notifications so you'll know when a show's coming up. You'll get the notification, you can jump on, you won't miss anything. And hey, just take a second, give us one of these. Those likes, they help so much with the algorithm. So just, reach down there and take care of that right now before we go any further. That way you won't have to worry about it anymore. It's appreciated so much. You guys, you have been incredible. You continue to be incredible. I'm done rambling. Um, Without further ado, I've got Max Flowers on here. He will be talking about Rat Race, his upcoming Kickstarter. Guys, this thing is incredible. You've heard me talk about Max on other episodes. Just a young, incredible artist. I mean, I love his stuff. I'm gonna quit rambling. Let me bring him in here so he can tell you all about his upcoming project. Matt,
Hey, what's
there he
up?
is. It's so awesome to have you on here today, man.
Thank you for having me on,
I
man.
wish you'd watch some
Appreciate
of the
it.
later episodes. I've mentioned you a few times, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch them, man.
I've really been enjoying watching you grow, man, and seeing what all you're capable of. You don't get enough credit, man, for what you do. You've got
Thank
some
you.
really awesome work. I love your style. It's
Thank you.
something. I mean, it's just amazing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, it's really only been about a year of being into comics. Mark picked me up at the the end of 2022, and then 2023 we got into the swing of things, and I was like, I don't I just graduated art school too, and so I was like, I really want to make this thing work.
Right,
Um, and so I said, I just gotta make shit. I just gotta make everything I can, and every opportunity that comes my way, I'm like, let's make it happen. So, I mean, since then, I think I've released like 7 books,
oh wow, man.
2023 in a year. Yeah, which
You are
that's.
bullshitting. Coming out of school. Like, fuck school, it's time to show them what I got.
Oh yeah, and you know, I can't credit myself completely for everything. The trash cans, which I've put out, um, 5 now, soon to be 6, 7, 8. I've got that many stories backed up. It's all because of the community, right? The
Yeah,
whole point is collecting the community's work and getting it out there in the best way possible and the most affordable way possible, the most accessible, so that anybody can be a comic fan, and anybody especially can be an indie comic fan and
right.
support all those creators. So yeah,
That's fucking awesome, dude.
thank you.
I'm all about indie, man. I've been doing this show on and off for a good while now, and it's just I love doing it. I love talking to you guys. I love, giving you a platform to talk about your work, because like we were talking about before the show, I mean, I felt like I was on an island and there were so many people that kind of took me under their wing, and taught me so much. And I just want to give that back, because this community that we belong to, this little corner of things, it's just incredible, man. There are so many just amazing people, like Mark, for instance. But not only Mark, there are so many good guys. Our girl,
True.
there's just so many good people that have taught me so much in the little bit of time I've been in this space.
Right. I mean, and everybody is like there to support one another, right? We
Yeah,
realize indie comics isn't a competition, you know.
right,
It's a
right,
team sport. If
exactly.
we can all build each other up. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course Mark is doing so much with OKC, but Brandon with Apollo is doing a
Right.
lot for indie creators supporting people. Um, yeah, Kai Brown, who's doing the Shadow Anthology right now.
Yeah,
Freaking amazing, bringing all those creators together. I think it's yeah, I mean, each anthology grows, right? But it's
yeah.
probably coming up on like 25 creators in a book
That's
at this point.
insane, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And so I mean, we're doing our best to keep the community engaged and together and working towards the same goal. So
So tell me about this upcoming Kickstarter. What
yeah.
kind of
So
kind of walk me through that?
The Rat Race Kickstarter is a comic book flash sale Kickstarter. So what we're really trying to do is make comics affordable and accessible for everybody to get. So it operates on the 1, 2, 3 principle. It's
Right.
easy as that, right? So it's $1 will get you a shit ton of digital comics. $2 will get you a tradition or a physical mini comic of Bubbles, which is a preview book for my book coming out in April.
Gotcha.
And then $3 will get you a full size physical full issue comic
Oh,
called
wow.
Bootleg, which is a split between me and Jade Louder, and it's a double creature feature
Oh,
comic book.
yeah.
Yeah, full of campy horror, and yeah, it's and then we've got all sorts of freaking surprises along the way. So we got all the trash cans are going to be available for $3 too, and absolutely no shipping on anything, which is the
Oh,
killer
wow.
deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just three
You can't beat
dollars.
that deal with a stick.
No, yeah, so it's $3, no shipping, and it'll get you a full size comic. Man, it's freaking what we're doing here is kind of freaking crazy. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
We get
see what
off of
happens.
this. We get off of this live. I'm gonna. Yeah. Yeah. I've got questions because
Yeah,
I'm super curious, man, as to
yeah.
how you guys are actually doing this because it's insane, man.
Yeah, and that's the goal, right? If we can provide something insane, it's pretty hard to pass up on a $3 comic,
Oh
especially
God,
now,
that's a no brainer, man.
Yeah, so you have to back it, and that's the goal, right? Is
Right.
let's do something insane. Let's give back to the community a little bit, you know.
Hell yeah. So how did this kind of how did it kind of come about with you and Jade and just the idea in general for this whole thing?
It like really we just wanted because we're sick of seeing people charging, 20, $25
Yeah.
for a single issue on Kickstarter. We were
Right.
like, that's unsustainable
Definitely.
for creators, it's unsustainable for consumers, it's unsustainable for everybody. So let's do something crazy and do something for cheap, Why not? Let's see
Yeah.
what happens. And so we started trying to figure out what we could put in there, and we thought that the trash cans were a great idea because they're black and white preview series, and everybody's work will get out there that way.
Right.
Um, but we wanted to do something full color, and I did that split book with Jade. Um, that's in full color. That's taken from um, our two stories that were submitted to the Indie Comics Dispatch. Tales from the Dispatch anthology.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and so we just took our 2 stories and, since we're both from LKC, um, we printed physical books of them and did some rebranding and extra pages and stuff and put out that book, and then we said, "Man, this would be perfect," and we've had them for a little bit, testing them out at, like, physical conventions and stuff, and everybody seems to love them. So, we we're gonna put those up there. The trash cans are gonna be up there. The and then the other big reason is I'm a co-creator of Rat Brain Zine,
Yeah,
which is me and my boyfriend Milo's little project that we're doing that's basically focused on like zine culture
gotcha.
and arts and stuff and the DIY mentality. And so that's where the Rat Race branding comes from. And then Bubbles, which is that it's a little tiny mini comic. I don't know if I have it next to me. I do.
I think, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So this is going to be a full series put out through Rat Brain. And so we're kind of using it as a platform
oh, wow.
to tease this, which is coming out in April as a full length book as well.
That's an
So
awesome idea too, man.
yeah.
Mark had showed me that when him and Jade were actually on the show, and I was
Hmm.
just like blown away by that. I was like, man, these guys are fucking geniuses.
Yeah, man, I wish I had some of my zines around too because we we wanted to do it from the ground up, right? Like not rely
Right.
on anybody. Like let's make our own shit, right? So not only are we doing like any kind of art, design, and writing that's on the inside, we're printing everything ourselves. We're hand folding everything ourselves, and
Wow.
hand poking the holes to hand stitch the binding ourselves.
That
So
just answered a lot of questions. Yep.
yeah,
That
so
I had.
so we're not afraid of a lot of work. We at one point we were hand stitching probably about 500 zines,
Wow.
getting ready for shows and stuff, and just sitting there and we'd stitch all day for like 3 days trying to put our book
That's
together.
insane, man.
Yeah, just trying to make something nice feeling and something that's like
Yeah.
you know comes
That's
from who we are as creators.
right. That's
Uh,
incredible, man. Just not only the work as far as the art and everything, but just the personal touch, the personal craftsmanship. That's just taking it to a whole nother level.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
seriously, I'm blown away by that, dude. I mean, honestly.
yeah. I'd love to one day like figure out how to stitch a comic book together
Yeah.
and like do that. I think especially if it was like some sort of like limited edition artist edition book
Right.
that was all hand stitched, it'd be freaking really cool. So
That's awesome, man. You give me hope for the future of comics, dude. I mean,
thank
really.
you.
I hope to God all the ones coming up, your age group and even the younger, just have the same commitment that you've got. That's just incredible.
Yeah, and I strongly believe that like anybody can do indie comics, right?
Oh yeah,
It,
definitely.
all it takes is just the desire to do it in reality. And
Right.
so it doesn't matter if you're like 14 years old and you've never drawn before. You can make an indie comic. You just got to be dedicated to it. And the same thing, if you're even if you're like 70, 80, right? And it's always been your goal to make a comic,
Yeah.
you should do it. Why not?
Exactly. I mean,
You
you
only got a
only
little
go
bit.
around this shithole one time. You might as well do everything that you want to do while you're here, and don't be afraid. Get it out there.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I think it's easy to be paralyzed. I mean, making indie comics is not easy.
No.
It's not. And a lot of us do it for the passion of wanting to make indie comics, not necessarily, the rewards that we get for it. Um,
Right, right.
and so, yeah, dude, you gotta. It's important to be dedicated to that mission and to try and not be afraid or get paralyzed and just fucking do the damn thing, right?
Yeah,
Why
that
not?
you said a mouthful right there. Just do the damn thing, you
Yeah,
know?
and that's
I
I mean that's my goal with everything. Like I when I'm working on projects with other people, you know, I'd rather a book get created and done
right,
and have another thing out there in the world than squibble over the particulars of the project,
right,
argue about pay, whatever. Like all that shit doesn't matter. What matters is like making a kick-ass comic
right,
book.
right.
So like I'm just gonna shut up and do the damn thing and make
Gotcha.
something sick as hell.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
That's a great attitude, Max. You just man. I've been hearing about you. I've been hearing rumors, but you're living up to it, dude. You But
Yeah, and
yeah, you're pretty much you feel like I do. I mean, I joked the first meeting I was on, and it you could have heard fucking crickets, when I was in the LKC meeting. I was like, yeah, I want to make $1 million, blah 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 blah. That's not me at all. I was fucking kidding, and everybody, a lot of guys didn't know me yet, didn't know how to take me. You guys are getting there. I mean, I didn't get in this to make $1 million. I got into this because I love comics. I
yeah,
love the genre, and I had a story to tell, and I was tired of sitting on it. I just wanted to get it out into the world. You know, I told somebody a while back. I said it wouldn't matter. If I was just selling one book, that's one book out there in the world. I'm so humbled by every Kickstarter that I go through. I shipped to like 8 or 9 different countries this last time,
wow,
and I've shipped to multiple countries every time, but there were more this last Kickstarter, and it just man, I teared up, dude, going through
yeah,
that and packaging this stuff up, and yeah, I'm sitting here thinking I'm gonna have books in 8 different countries. That's just insane. When it just a few years ago, this book didn't even exist. You know, when I was at that con a while back, Fan Expo,
oh,
and
cool,
I had some young cats coming up to the table, boys and girls, and asking me questions. I said, "Look, guys, I don't know shit, but I will tell you this: get it out there. Don't sit on this thing." I said, "There's technology's caught up with this. Anybody can do it, like you said. Anybody can do it. You just got to have the will to push through, get it out there." I said, "Don't sit on it. Get it out in the world." I said, "You're following it, come, but you got to have the work out there for them to see it." You know,
yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's I think like part of it too is I know I'm a young. I mean, I'm a freaking baby to be honest with you, right? I mean, I'm
you are.
22.
You're the same age as my son, my baby.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm 22. I'm about to be 23, but you kn- comics are too valuable to lose in
Hmm.
today's age. And I'm not saying that we're gonna lose comics. I don't think we'll ever lose
We'll
comics.
never
But it's
lose comics. Yeah.
no, but it's important to to share comics with the younger generation,
Right.
you know, because like I'm part of the generation that's gonna be carrying it forward, right?
You'll
So
be carrying the torch, man,
yeah, so
for
and so
all of
I
us.
and so that's what I like. I understand that like base, the future of comics is in my hands and the hands of people like me.
Right.
So I better do it right. Um, and I think if we can encourage just everybody and anybody to make comics, that they should. I mean, we've all got stories to tell. you know?
Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't
We
have said it better myself. You took the words right out of my mouth, man. Everybody
absolutely.
has a voice. Everybody's got a story.
Yep. And it's a great platform to share your story. And like, you're gonna be like Jerry and sending your story out to people in other countries across oceans, freaking everywhere. Like when we were doing the Apollo City Punk Anthology Kickstarter, my boyfriend was screen printing patches.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
thought that was
used
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, he Brandon had told him, he's like, "Hey, dude, one of your patches is going to, like, Berlin,"
Yeah.
or it was somewhere in
Insane.
Germany, and
Yeah.
he was like, "What the fuck? My little homemade screen printed
Yeah.
patches are gonna fly over and end up in Germany, and then sewn onto some battle jacket in Germany." Like,
It's insane,
it's
man. It
pretty
really
dope.
is if you sit down and think about it. It's
Yeah,
just it it's mind blowing. It
yeah,
really is. And
yeah,
these people they get in some people get into this for the wrong reason. They get in there just for what I said in that meeting. Oh, I want to make $1 million. If you're in this to get rich, you don't even need to start, man. Because
yeah,
and I'm not saying you won't get there. I mean, you might have one of those stories that just blows the top off a Kickstarter, and hey, Todd McFarlane sees your work and says, "Oh man, I want you to come to work for me and draw a spawn," and you become a household name in less than a year. That could happen because those guys they watch Kickstarter like a hawk for
yeah.
talent. And they watch. I was telling somebody a while back, don't think Netflix and Amazon and people like that, don't think they don't have people hired just to watch for IP on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Don't think for a second that they're not there. And that's just insane to think about too, you know.
Yeah, yeah, Big Brother watching over you, right?
Yeah, I mean, shit, that too, fuck them. But anyway, but yeah,
I
kind of
mean,
go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
yeah, it's an interesting dilemma, right? I mean, obviously, those people have done so much for the comic industry. I mean, obviously, look at Marvel. The movies have exploded,
Yeah.
and everybody knows those things now, which maybe they might not have before. Which is great for comics, but at the same time, they're taking they're taking one format and turning it into another format that has become popular, and then that other format slowly is fades away, right?
It's
People
a
want to go
double-edged
watch.
sword. You're
Yeah,
exactly right.
exactly. And so let's keep it in comics. Comics are such a unique form of storytelling, and that they're not only visual, but there's words and there's spacing between the panels and there's a book in your hands.
Right.
There's so much more to the storytelling than just like sitting down and watching a movie. There's a lot of reader interpretation that goes on, a lot of
Oh
thinking, a
God,
lot
yeah.
of, understanding. And so I think the comic still is a medium that has a lot to offer, right? I think,
There's so much. You said it. There's so much that interpretation that you leave up to the reader.
yeah,
Between the panel. I mean, you've got that panel. It's such a unique way of storytelling. You know, you go in and you do your panel, and then you do the next panel, and it's up to the reader in his mind's eye to kind of put it all together. And let it flow. That's why everybody kind of they take something different away from the same comic.
yeah,
Because there's so much left to the reader to do the work. You know,
yeah. And I mean, it's like this in all mediums, right? But
yeah,
as creators, we put our own interpretation into a story, right?
right.
Whatever. And I mean, I would hope that you write from the heart, and from personal
Definitely.
experiences. Yeah. So we're putting our own personal experiences and emotions into whatever book we're making, right?
Right.
And then somebody gets that book and they might apply their own emotions and personal experiences into that book that you didn't even think about, and then
Exactly.
they share it with somebody else and they get their own, and
Right.
so effectively through that line, comics is changing lives, you know
You're
comics is
exactly right.
connecting with people in a way that is
That
more
movies
personal and
never
physical in their
can. Yeah.
hands.
Right.
Yeah, and movies can, right? But it's a
Right.
different experience. You're
Exactly.
It's a passive experience, right? You're watching the movie, you're enveloped in it, and you enjoy it, which can cause those same, emotional feelings and connections. I mean, everybody's
Right.
got a favorite movie that they connect to and for some special reason, right?
Exactly.
Movies do it too, but comics are an interactive experience. You've got to hold the book, you've got to read through it, and you've got to make up your mind about what's actually happening in the story.
Right.
So
So tell me this. Say, say, your book blows up, dude. You start getting those calls from Amazon, Netflix, uh, animation studios, you name it, they're calling. You got movie studios calling you. Which and it's up to you, Max. Which direction do you go to further your story? Which medium do you take?
yeah, it's an interesting question, right? First of all, I think highly unlikely, just due to the subject matter of my books.
You never know,
But
dude. You
yeah, I mean
never
it's
know.
true. You never know, right? But I do think that there is value to sharing your work through the film medium, right? And
Right.
so I think that that is a reasonable path to go. I mean, I think probably one of the really I truly I think one of the best examples of book to movie adaptations is The Crow
That's a good
with
one.
James O'Barr. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because I mean James O'Barr was basically like he was a young adult. Something traumatic happened to him, and he said,
Right.
I need to process this and share my story,
Yeah.
and made a little indie gritty comic book, right? And just kept doing it for years and years and years and kept making it. And
Yeah.
it just happened that people connected, and so it got bigger, and then film studios said this is a great plot. We'd love to turn it into a movie, whatever. They make it a movie, and it just blows up from there. I mean, the movie is a huge icon of the 90s, right? I mean, it really
Dude,
is.
I remember not a lot of people. I'm from Mississippi. I've lived all over, but I'm originally from Mississippi. And I
Yeah.
moved back to the area where I come up from. And I remember when The Crow hit. I had followed the comics, but the
Really?
movie, yeah, the movie itself, man. As soon as I got word that this was coming, it blew me away. And I remember sitting in theaters on opening night watching this movie, and not only dealing with the fact that one of my icons, Brandon Lee, didn't
Abs-
live to see the end of this. It touched me in such a way. It's hard to explain,
Yeah.
but it changed me forever.
Yeah.
It had something to do with shaping who I become today.
Right. And it just shows you, right, that like creators with no name from nowhere
Yeah.
can do just as well as the big shots, right?
Oh, definitely.
At Marvel. I mean The Crow was James O'Barr's first book.
Right.
And truth, I mean, you can tell it's his first book. I mean,
Definitely.
it's a great book, but the amount of
I know
dramatic
exactly what you're
changes in
saying.
art style and improvement that he made throughout the story, you can tell. And
Yeah.
so it's incredible that for his first story to hit so close to home for so many people. It's
Well,
it's
it's just like
it's
it's just like you said earlier. be honest. Let that story come from your heart. You know, in
Yeah.
whatever genre you're telling, at the base of it, it's your story. It's something a part of you, and I've said this a thousand times. People can smell bullshit a mile away. You know, if it's not real, they're not going to gravitate to it. But just like the crow, that was a little piece of some traumatic experience that James went through, and people gravitate to that. Because it's something real. You
Yeah.
know,
And that's what that's how I aim to tell my stories.
right?
In all honesty, I'm a lot more of an artist than I am a writer. You know,
I
I can,
can feel that, man. I know exactly what you
I
mean.
can,
I'm there with you.
yeah, I can write, right? Like I can do it, and I can write pretty okay stories, but it's not
Yeah,
where like my craft lies.
right.
It's 100% in art. Um, but when I'm thinking about stories, it's all about trying to put that emotion and lived experience in there. I mean, my shadow anthology submission, just one page. It's just a one-page story about dealing with the grief of losing my grandfather.
Oh wow.
You know, and it's like I didn't try and hide it in um metaphors or fantastical storylines or anything. It's straight biographical, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Um, it's a pretty hard hitting one pager, in all honesty.
Wow.
um, but like it is important to share that, right? Like,
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, as creators, we've got to get it out of us somehow or another,
yeah,
and that's the only way. Some of us know how to process it, you know, and deal with it is by making something out of it.
yeah, and I wanted something that would you know connect me to him,
Right.
um, and I wanted to try doing something different, and usually most of my stuff's pretty much like straight up horror.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's nothing wrong with that. I happen to
yeah.
wear that a lot.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of messages you can sneak into horror, but
Oh
like
God, yeah. And
for
I
the
love what they're doing with modern horror.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
not just slasher. I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff that's coming out.
yeah, I kind of avoid a lot of the slasher stuff just because
Yeah.
like it's been
Been done to
done.
death. Yeah. And there's no meat on the bone there.
Yeah, and so I mean, I'm a huge fan of horror and horror comics, and it's always been a little bit of like a quiet genre,
Yeah.
especially in comics, because it's so hard to pull off that like suspense and scare that
Right.
that movies can, right? But
Yeah.
but modern horror has a chance to do something, that has never been done in horror comics before, which is make it popular. Like
Right.
I think there's a lot of really good horror stories out there
They're
that are
really yeah.
by modern creators that just need to get you know discovered and pushed to mass audiences, and that
Exactly.
shit will take off. um I mean,
But
namely Nice House on the Lake by James Tinian,
I'm gonna
which
have
is
to check that out.
which has
I,
already
I
got.
love Kenyan's work anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, great guy, but which his stuff, Nice House on the Lake has already got some success, but Silver Coin is a really good horror horror book. It's kind of like an anthology, right? Where it's just there's a silver coin in every story,
Yeah.
and that silver coin is like the worst bad luck charm ever.
Is it
uh,
kind of like I don't know if you've seen you'd have to watch it in subtitles, but have you seen 30 Coins on HBO?
mm-mm, no.
You would love that. It's kind of I think it's pretty much the same thing as to what you're talking about. Basically, 30 Coins is talking about the 30 pieces of silver that Judas received for giving over Jesus or
Right.
whatever. And anyway, this show's insane, man. I mean, it's right up my alley. You got demons galore. I mean,
Oh, hell
it's
yeah.
insane, man.
Yeah, I'll
You
have to
ever get a chance to check it out? Like I said, it's not English dubbed. Check
oh,
out
that's
30
cool.
Coins.
Yeah, I watch stuff, you know, really well, like art house French horror is
Yeah.
like my jam. Like just weird experimental shit that like yeah, it's crazy what they come up with. So
Tell
yeah,
me,
I'll
I
definitely
know
check it out.
it doesn't, it kind of fits into the genre, but it's more science fiction. Have you
Yeah.
seen Dark? Have you
Yeah,
seen
I've seen
Dark?
Dark. Yeah,
Oh
I've
my
seen Dark.
God, man.
Yeah,
That is hands down the best sci-fi I think I've ever seen. It topped it all
yeah.
for me. I loved it. And the people, too many people watch the dub. You need to watch the original with the subtitle.
Yep,
There's a little bit that's lost with the dub.
I agree. Yep, I agree with you there. Yeah.
But yeah, that
Um,
show, it was insane. I loved every second of it.
yeah, it's yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much we connect with media from all sources. It
Right.
like we're if it connects with you to the point that you want to share it, which is what we all hope to achieve as creators. But
Exactly.
um, you're doing something special as well, which is connecting people, right?
Right.
I mean, I think eh, comics, whether it's you know cryptids that know karate,
Yeah.
Dan, but uh,
Shout out
or
Dan Price.
right, great guy. I just shipped him some art um,
Oh wow.
from the Bigfoot contest. But
Yeah.
whether it's that kind of stuff, you know, scary stories, whatever. It doesn't like fantastical stories about elves. Doesn't matter because it all
Right.
comes back to like who we are as humans,
Yeah.
why it matters, and like how we can connect with one another to move forward. Because
Gotcha.
there's a lot of threats out there just in the world. It's just, I mean, truth be
It's
damned,
becoming a scary place. Yeah.
it's a fucking scary place. And
Yeah.
so if we can stick together and celebrate our stories and share them, we'll be in a lot better place.
Yeah. Why can't we all be comic book creators? I mean, that's just
Yeah, man.
what a world we'd live in. You
Yeah.
know,
Why is AI trying to take our jobs when AI should be taking the menial jobs?
I tell you, AI scares the shit out of me. Not just on a creator level, but just in general. I grew up with Terminator. That
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
I'm
That's all you
waiting
gotta
on
say.
Skynet to take over.
Yeah, it's a complicated matter.
Yeah, it
It's
really is. We ain't got to go down that road. I
uh-uh.
want to talk about what are some of the, just as a creator in general, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've run into in the little while that you've been doing comics?
Um,
Tell us that, and then tell us some advice that you would pass on to the young cats
yeah,
trying to break through.
really, I mean, I haven't faced too many barriers, right?
Yeah,
I've been lucky enough to have the support of the indie comic community pretty much from the get-go.
right.
And it's hard to get your name out there, and it's still hard for me to get my name out there. Um, but at that point, you just have to shamelessly plug yourself and
Yeah,
shamelessly share your work. The biggest thing I could say is go to events. Comic cons are great to network, but as an indie creator or a young creator or whatever, they're kind of hard to get into. They got a lot of barriers to entry.
right.
So I would highly suggest looking up zine fests and zine fairs in your area.
Gotcha.
Just an amazing community of people willing to help each other out. I mean, um, I'm in Alaska now, but back home in Orange County, California, they've got a zine fest there at the local library, and they do it for free. You know, everybody gets in free, everybody tables for free. It's just a
Wow,
benefit thing, and um,
that's
that was
really cool.
yeah, that was the first event that we ever did, and it was awesome. Like there was just a great response to what we were doing, and everybody loved it, and it gave us that confidence to like keep going and keep pushing forward. That we were just doing this in a bubble, and when we popped that bubble, we realized there's people out there that like it. It's not just like us doing some insane fueled thing.
Yeah,
But and then the other thing that I would say is a barrier or like an obstacle, right? Is like finding the right people to
yeah,
work with. Because there's a lot of people that maybe don't have the same goal as you, right? My goal is to make cool shit. Um, there's a lot of people's goal, like you said, Jerry, is to make a ton of money.
yeah.
Those are two goals that don't necessarily conflict, but you know can create you know
All problems.
yeah,
Yeah.
some tension. And so I think it's very important to work with other people. I think you have to work with other people.
Oh
I don't think
God,
you
yeah.
have an option.
Right. And
Indie comics can be as much of a solo project as you want, but at some
right.
point you're going to have to work with somebody else.
Yeah,
And so make sure you've got the right people on your team. And
exactly.
I think both me and you do have the right people on our team, man.
Oh God, yeah, man. Oh God, yeah. I mean, shout out Mark Bernal.
Yeah, shout out everybody. I
um,
mean, Chris
Blockstore,
Weigen.
Brandon DePillis. I mean, we
Yeah,
could go Doug. I mean, these guys are
Oh, I
incredible.
fucking love Doug.
God, yeah. Nate
Uh,
Price.
yeah, Chris Weigen from Tights.
Yeah, I
He,
forgot about Chris. Jay
he,
Red.
yeah, he called me and we had a chat, and he was just helping me out with the Kickstarter. You know,
Oh,
walking me through some stuff, spitting ideas back and forth. Like, there's a lot of people that they want to charge you for those services, which is
yeah,
good, right? But at the same time, we've got a community of people here that just want to help each other out.
exactly.
So he just called me up, helped me out. It was cool. We're all good, you know. And
Right,
that's what I want out of the community is helping each other for the goodness of helping out each other.
right. Pushing it forward,
Yeah,
or paying it forward for that matter.
yeah, yeah. And so I think we're moving in the right direction, and I think we're making awesome stuff, and we're
Definitely.
trying to make it cool as fuck for readers to enjoy.
No doubt,
That's what it's
man.
about.
Mark, I remember when he first started posting, and he just started sending stuff out to like everybody. And I come across this thing, and I was like, let's turn on comments. I was like, okay, and he reached out to me, and we kind of chatted back and forth a little bit. And as things went on, we chatted more and more, and then I've never got to actually meet Mark in person. I'm waiting on that day. But just chatting and talking just like this, I know he's the real deal. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I mean, he's somebody that you just gravitate to. I mean, you know, uh,
It
we're very like minded, if that makes any sense. And people, it's just like you said, you got to get the right people in your corner, you know, because you can go the wrong way. You can get the wrong people in your corner, and it just you won't be in a good place creatively. You won't make good stuff. Yeah, you might make money, but you won't be in a good headspace.
right.
You know?
And
And
then
I think
what does that do for your comic journey, right?
exactly
Suddenly you're not in the headspace to even wanna make comics anymore, like,
that's right.
you're
Yeah,
losing that that passion, and that's, like, one of the most important
exactly.
things to keep is that drive drive to create, man. I mean, that's my life, right? It's like it really is. I mean, I knew I wanted to do art from a really young age. I mean, even elementary school, right? I was like, I
Yeah.
want to do art. It wasn't always comics. It was all sorts of stuff.
Right.
But and then I realized I was pretty good at this comic thing, and I really liked it. I started diving deeper in, and like I can't let go of it now, dude. I've got I've got 10 years of books planned out already.
That's insane, man. That's
I mean,
incredible.
yeah, and so it's like that's just my own stuff. I don't know what else I'm gonna be working on.
Oh, I'm sure
Uh,
you're gonna be working on a lot, Barry.
yeah, but yeah, I have 10 years worth of books planned out, and I'm not planning on stopping. I'm planning
Yeah,
on hauling ass and getting those books out there and telling those stories. So
hell yeah, man. That's awesome. So
yeah,
one more question, and I
yeah.
won't take up any more of your time, man.
No, no, I'm happy to be here.
One one of what would you say is probably your favorite thing about the medium of comics?
Man,
I know that's a loaded question.
I could tell you easily my favorite part about creating comics
Well,
is
do that.
is
Yeah,
is doing the inks.
yeah,
Um, just because like that's I think that there's a lot to making the emotional impact of comics make
right.
sense, right? But the amount of energy that you can put into your inks
Yeah,
is it can really tell a lot. And whether it's minimal gestural brush strokes, or whether it's like intense hours of hatching and
right.
intensity, you know you you get a lot of different effects, and it's just where I have the most fun.
Yeah,
But my favorite, okay, I think my favorite part about the comics medium is that there is a versatility to the storytelling, right? Like that, I think panel size, right? The just in general, the various shapes of panels and the way that they can change form, change shape, change mood, change atmosphere just with one panel is crazy. You know, I
exactly.
think I think a great example of it is like think about whatever your favorite comic was, that comic that made you fall in love with comics,
Yeah,
and I guarantee you that there's probably a double page spread in there somewhere, and the feeling you got when you flipped that page and opened up to that double page spread, and you're just
yeah.
like, "Fuck." You're like you're like,
Exactly.
"Wow."
Yeah,
And that kind of wow moment, that's what I mean, yeah, I love comics for that, for being able to make you turn a page and be able to say,
yeah.
"Wow."
Just fucking blow your mind. And
Yeah,
the one thing that I still love about comics is that, I'm 46 years old and I can still turn a page and get blown away and still have that same feeling that I
yeah,
had the very first time I picked one up. And I think that's why, it becomes a part of you, you know.
yeah. I think what it really, it's just magic, right?
It
It's like
is. It is. You
you
couldn't have said it better. It's
you're
fucking magic.
you're you're like, you're given the materials, and then you're making moving pictures in your head and understanding a
Exactly.
story with just, like, words and some images. And you turn the page, and you're fed that one piece of inspiration, and your brain just takes off. And
Right.
it really is magic. And you're right. Every time you open a comic book, you're always like, wow. You
Yeah.
always have that like moment that's I don't think any other like
I don't see it in any other
no,
medium. I
you
don't
can
get that
it's
from any other.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see movies and it's like, "What the fuck did I just watch? That was, like,
Yeah,
terrible," you know?
right.
And sometimes you watch them and you're like, "That's great," but I think almost every comic, you open it up and there's magic on the inside of that. Maybe it's I don't know what it is.
I,
It's
I that's the closest thing I can think of
yeah,
because it's the only thing that's ever made me feel that way. You know,
yeah, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe it's the time put in, but I don't even think it's that.
no, I don't
It's
either.
something else.
It's I. There's no other name for it but magic, and
Yeah,
I can't think of a better place to lock this down, man. Comics are magic.
comics are magic.
Max
Keep
Flowers.
making them.
So anyway, guys, look down here in the description. You're gonna have Max's links for all his socials. Be sure to jump on that, give it a follow. Uh, all kinds of behind the scenes stuff from time to time. Just kind of seeing Max's process, what he's working on. Uh, the Kickstarter, more importantly, though, jump
Yes.
on that. You heard what the man said. Stuff for as low as $1. I mean, you can't beat that. You literally can't beat that with a stick. You get physical copies of a comic for $3. It's a double whammy, the old 1-2 from him and Jay Louder. You don't want
Free
to miss
shipping.
that.
Free shipping
Free
too, man.
shipping. Free. Let me take a minute and let you understand that, guys. Free. That's your favorite word. Free shipping. But anyway, anyway, Max, anything you wanna plug, man? I know you're busy. You're working on a lot of
Oh
stuff.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously, please go check out the Rat Race Kickstarter launching January 23rd. Um, if I don't know when this video is releasing, so if it's before that, there's a pre-launch page up.
Get on
Um,
it.
so check it out. Slap that pre-launch button, and if it's up by the time this is out, then hell yeah, back that shit, man. Um, check out check out the Shadow anthology, which is running right now through Apollo City Comics. I've got a story in there, and it's got a bunch of stories from a bunch of different creators. It's an awesome book. And keep an eye out for Bubbles coming out in April, which is a one-room horror story, a one-room queer horror story full of neon colors and halftones. So
Wow.
yeah, check that out. It's coming out in April. It's gonna be gonna I'm it's gonna be a busy year for me, man. I
It
have a
definitely
feeling
sounds like it,
already.
bro. Definitely
Yeah,
sounds like it.
yeah. So
And
check
hey,
out my stuff and thank you.
you guys encourage this young man as much as you can to just drop in drop in his DMs and say you're doing the Lord's work, Max. If nothing else, because this kid is the future. You know,
Thank you.
us old goats, and I mean literally goats. I mean we're not going to be around forever. This this is the future of comics. So do all you can to encourage this young man. Max, dude, everything I've heard, it doesn't even come close to actually just sitting here and talking to you, man. You give me all the hope in the world for the future of comics, and I mean that from my heart, dude. I mean,
I
seriously, it
appreciate.
was such a pleasure to sit down and talk with you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Jerry. Man, yeah, I appreciate that. I can't say much else, man. It's
I got you,
I'm
man.
gonna I'm gonna I'll get emotional about it, but
It's all good, bro. But
yeah,
anyway, I'm one more time, guys, and Max was nice about it. I'm not going to be ugly about it, but I'm just saying, get on that thing. If it's the pre-launch page, it's got an algorithm, guys. Numbers matter. So the more numbers he has, the quicker. I mean, Kickstarter, they see these numbers, and it's just like anything else. The thing that's got the most numbers, they're going to push that up to the top because there's millions of books out there. I mean, you're literally searching for a needle in a stack of needles. And the more numbers that Max gets on this pre-launch page, the further it gets pushed to the top where somebody can actually see this thing and doesn't have to dig for it. So help him out. Sign up. It doesn't cost a thing to sign up. Even if you don't want to back the campaign, which I'm sure you will once you actually get the notification. See, that's what this pre-launch page does. It puts you front row. So as soon as this thing launches, you get an email and a notification saying, "Hey, we're live."
Yeah, and
You
you're
can
gonna.
jump on there, get in there, and see. Just take a look at the campaign. I'm sure there's something in there for you.
Yeah, and if you want access to, mystery tiers, we've got mystery tiers
Oh
in
wow,
there. We've got limited original art in there. So if you want
awesome!
access to original pages, sign up, get notified. Those will go fast.
Oh,
So,
no doubt, no doubt.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to jump on some of that.
Oh yeah.
But
S-
yeah, you got one backer here for sure. But
Hell
all
yeah.
you guys get out there, help Max get this thing going. Future Comics right here. You heard it.
Check it out. Thank
Just
you.
help this cat out any way you can. If any way you can. Max, it was a pleasure, bro. Thank you so much for being on. Thank you for your time. Thank you for
Thank you,
what you're doing
Jerry.
for comics, dude.
Thank you for making such a great platform, man. I had a great time on your show. It's fucking
I
killer.
appreciate that, dude.
Great
I
dude.
appreciate that. This will be the first of many times that
Oh, absolutely.
you'll grace me with your presence, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Right. Anyway, guys, that's the show. You guys have a blessed day. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure and like. Give us one of these. All right. And go follow Max right now. Have a good one. That's it.